Hey guys, it's the Millblade 5, and I was wanting to do a Pokemon related video for the day of Pokemon's 20th anniversary. However, due to me being a lazy ass when making my Batman Arkham Knight Fairy, it was likely that I would be unable to finish it in time. So instead I decided to go the boring route and just do a retrospective on Pokemon, or a mini retrospective I guess, since this shouldn't be as long as some retrospective videos which are like an hour long. So getting to the point, as I mentioned in my top 10 favorite video game franchises, I had a bit of a weird introduction to Pokemon at first. And I didn't like it. My introduction to Pokemon was actually from the anime. I had no clue that it was a video game. I just thought it was some weird TV show. I was about 6 or 7, I think, when I first came across the anime, because as I mentioned in my top 10 favorite franchises, my older sister used to watch it when she was younger, and I didn't like the anime at first because I thought it was stupid, as I had no idea what was going on. I just saw people, a yellow rat, and a talking cat. Then one fateful day, I guess, when I was 7, I actually know the age this time, I walked into the living room, saw my sister playing on her DS, it was some weird game where there were these cool looking creatures battling each other, and I thought it was really fun, so I decided to watch her play. That game was Pokemon Diamond, and when I found out I went, wait, Pokemon is a game? But I still didn't realize that it was a game before a TV show then. As I thought the game looked like a lot of fun and seeing my sister play through more of the games, such as catching Dialga and trying to beat Cynthia but losing to her Garchomp, which I thought looked awesome, and her Milotic all the time. As such, I decided I wanted to play the game myself, but as all Pokemon games have only one save file, I had to get a copy myself, in which I discovered Pokemon Pearl, which I wanted because 1, my sister already hit Diamond, and 2, I liked how the legendary in the box art looked more, so as I mentioned numerous times on this channel, this is what led to Pokemon Pearl being the first Pokemon game I ever played. So then I started playing Pokemon Pearl, and despite not knowing what the hell I was doing, I loved it. When I started the game, I immediately chose Turtwig as my starter, as it was my favorite looking out of all the starters. So, in case you haven't seen my top 30 favorite Pokemon, yes, Turtwig was my first Pokemon, but as I said earlier, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know about stats, or which Pokemon were good or bad, or what moves would be good on Pokemon, and I obviously didn't know all the type weaknesses and resistances aside from the obvious ones my sister told me, and ones I saw in the anime. But the two stupidest things I did, which I will never forgive my younger self for, is that 1, the idea of assembling a team did not occur to me for some reason. I just caught Pokemon I liked the look of and pretty much only used Turtwig, which of course evolved into a Groudon and then into a Torterra. And second is that I only gave my Pokemon attacking moves. When I first played Pokemon, I thought that non-damaging moves were pointless because I thought, what's the point when I can just deal damage? So I had no status moves on my Pokemon. Of course, I now use a lot of status moves, such as one of my favorite strategies, which is to give a Skarmory Toxic due to its defense and since it's unaffected by Synchronize. But regardless, I was still somehow able to beat Cynthia with my shit strategy. I don't know how I did that. Which, yeah, just know, it still surprises me to this day, since I personally think Cynthia is the hardest champion in the entire series, because all her Pokemon are so tough, which is one of the reasons why she's my favorite champion. And after playing the game, I even played a bit of Pokemon Emerald, which my sister also had, without me even knowing. Of course, I got far better at Pokemon when Pokemon Platinum came out, since it was then I decided to make a Pokemon team, which led to the creation of my first ever team being Torterra, Gastrodon, Mothim for some reason. I think I just liked how it looked, although it did actually help me a lot. Garchomp, Mamoswine, and Drapion, which I actually transferred this team up to X and Y recently, but still, I knew nothing of stats, and still mainly used damaging moves aside from Protect on my Mothim. But what's really weird, and I guess I should mention this, since I once received a request to do a response video related to the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series, is that I don't really play the Pokemon spin-off games. I've never played the Mystery Dungeon games or the Pokemon Ranger games, which are the two most famous ones aside from Stadium. Some of these were due to them coming out before I got into Pokemon, like Colosseum XD, while the rest were simply because I never had an interest in them, and still don't to this day. Even more recent spin-offs like Conquest I haven't played because they just didn't interest me enough to buy them. The only Pokemon spin-offs I played, and I'm really embarrassed about this because they are both terrible games, but as I mentioned before, I was an idiot when I was a kid. The only spin-off games I played were Battle Revolution and Poke Park. Why the hell did I like these games when I was younger? I mean, I don't have them anymore. I recently sold them, but it still really embarrasses me to this day. It's like, I want to just go back in time and smack my younger self across his face like, no, you idiot! These are shit games! Battle Revolution's terrible modes and Poke Park are just doing pointless shit! Since I now got into Pokemon because of playing Pokemon Pearl, I then decided to start watching the anime, or the TV show as I said back then, as I didn't know the term anime. Now I remember when I came across Pokemon and when I started watching the anime, I believe it was the Johto series that was on, because I clearly remember Misty and Gen 2 Pokemon, and one episode I do remember is the episode with Price. However, I think these were just reruns of older episodes since there didn't appear to be a consistent order. And as such, there were many Johto episodes which I never saw as a kid, and this also applied to the Advanced series as well, although it was nowhere near to the extent as Johto aside from the end of the series. As I remember the Battle Frontier, the episode where Ash's Sceptile and Maze Blaziken fought each other, and the last episode with the introduction to Electivire, which surprised me as I never saw it before, I'm wondering what the hell it was, and Ash sailing off to Sinnoh. Of course, with me now getting into the anime and liking it, it also came up with me seeing the Pokemon movies. I believe that the first Pokemon movie I saw was the 8th movie, Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, which is actually my second favorite of all the movies because of Lucario. As I said, my top 10 favorite legendary Pokemon, spoiler alert, my favorite Pokemon movie is Rise of Darkrai. And, of course, since I saw Lucario, I also saw the 9th Pokemon movie, Pokemon Ranger and the Temple of the Sea, which, like when I was a kid, don't like really as much as an adult, mainly because of what the fuck they did in the climax. It was so random. But, yeah, it was fun, some parts enjoyable. So now we get to most likely the high points of the anime for me personally. The Diamond and Pearl series. Now, before fans of the early seasons start spamming hate comments saying I'm wrong, no, they're nowhere near as good as the old episodes, just hear me out. The reason why the Diamond and Pearl series, and by that I mean all the Sinnoh seasons, not just the season called Diamond and Pearl, it's kind of confusing when you're talking about it, is my personal high point is because I have the most memories of it, and is when I really started to regularly watch the anime, pretty much every day when it was on. With Johto and the Advanced series, I saw plenty of episodes from those series, which I really enjoyed as well. However, they were reruns, so many episodes were skipped whenever I watched them, particularly early episodes from those seasons. The Diamond and Pearl series, it was a brand new series of the anime at that point in time, so all aired episodes at the time were new, so I was able to consecutively watch episodes without things being skipped, so it felt more like I was actually watching an adventure with Ash, Dawn, and Brock, and, nothing was being skipped and made me confused. Plus, it could be partially due to being based on the first generation I played and my curiosity to see the Pokemon I discovered in Gen 4 on the TV. With the Diamond and Pearl series, I saw about every episode up until a certain point, which I'll get back to later. The only episode I believe I missed was the majority of the episode with Team Galactic and Spear Pillar. I only saw the end of that episode where Cyrus jumps into the portal of the new universe he created, and as far as I'm aware, that episode was never re-aired in the UK, as it never came on again in reruns, even when I watched the reruns, so I've never actually seen the majority of that episode. I can actually still remember the majority of the Diamond and Pearl episodes to this day, as almost every episode had something to me that was memorable, whether it be like getting a new Pokemon, learning a new move, releasing a Pokemon, as with the many sad times for me when Team Rocket would release one of their Pokemon, which I always found more sad than when Ash did for some reason. Or whether it just be something memorable such as Ash's gym and rival battles, Dawn's contest, or Brock failing to hit on a girl because of Krogunk. And, of course, this also came with me watching the Sinnoh Trilogy movies, which I enjoyed as a kid, but now that I'm older, I now know that Giratina and the Sky Warrior sucks, and that Arceus and the Jewel of Life isn't as good as I remembered. My only major criticism of the Diamond and Pearl series, or at least the first thing that comes to my mind in terms of things I didn't like in it, was that terrible theme song that they used for the first season. It's so bad. It's this stupid rap song, and it's just really bad and corny. I mean, if you're curious and I'm just not like insane or something to listen to this really bad rap, Just look up Pokemon theme songs or something so you can at least compare them to the other theme songs and at least see how shit it is compared to those. Then, as I was watching the Diamond and Pearl series, Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out, and I obviously got those games. I chose Soul Silver since I personally like Lugia more than Ho. When the games came out, I was actually completely unaware that they were remakes of older games. I had never heard of Pokemon Gold and Silver at the time. I thought it was just a game with older Pokemon in it. I didn't find out they were remakes until I saw Chuga Kama's Let's Play of Pokemon Crystal, and obviously noticed they were the same. Even though I do have an issue with Gen 2 because of how short the games feel, as the differences between gyms in Johto and Kanto were really short, I still really enjoyed Soul Silver and most of the team I assembled. I had some pretty shit movesets on my Pokemon and one really dumb Pokemon on my team. And of course, battling 16 gyms in this game absolutely blew my mind as a kid. And with this also came, obviously, promotion from the anime, as they always do with new Pokemon-related shit that comes out, as there was an episode with Lyra, the female trainer from Heart Gold and Soul Silver, in which Dawn got a Cyndaquil. See, I told you I could remember episodes! Then, the big one came. You all know what I'm talking about. Pokemon Black and White, Gen 5, yeah, baby! I promise I won't do that again. I remember when I was first introduced to Gen 5, it was really weird. About a year prior to Pokemon Black and White's reveal and release, I came across some people in my school looking at a magazine which had new Pokemon in it, which were the Unova starters. I got super excited when I saw this, as it meant more new Pokemon were coming. The magazine also had a picture of the protagonist standing in a large city, which we all know now called Castelia City. When I saw the starters, I already decided that I would choose Snivy, or Grass Snake, as they were calling it, as it was my favorite looking out of all of them, just like with Turtwig. However, there went a while, like a really long time, at least from what I remember, without any news or adverts on the TV promoting the new Pokemon generation, so I ended up thinking that the pictures in the magazine were fake, as a hoax. Which made me feel a bit down, since I really liked how Grass Snake looked. However, one day, a long time after I saw the magazine, Pokemon Black and White were announced, and I was so happy that the magazine wasn't a hoax, because I was so looking forward to that. Then the games came out, and I picked White because I like Zekrom more than Reshiram, and started playing it, in which I was very impressed that so many of the new Pokemon looked awesome, and the Pokemon had actual animations! I also liked how during the main game you only had access to Gen 5 Pokemon, as I already only wanted to see the new Pokemon. I know some people were bothered by that, but, you know, I actually liked that. If you see my top 30 favorite Pokemon video, you will know that there are tons of Gen 5 Pokemon I love. In Black and White Mon, my team was, and keep in mind the game just came out at this point, so I didn't know these Pokemon's stats or evolutions, were Serperior, Archeops, Simipour, Zebstrika, Crocodile, and Haxorus, which is a team I love aside from Simipour, as I was unaware of its bad stats when the game came out. Plus also, I don't like how it looks. I like how its pre-evolution looks, but I just don't like how it looks. I only evolved it because obviously evolution equals better stats. But still, as there was a lack of information when the game came out, I ended up discovering a bunch of Pokemon that I really liked, but couldn't use due to already having finalized a team such as Bisharp, Chandelure, Hydreigon, etc. Actually, when I played Pokemon Black and White 2, I focused my team on Gen 5 Pokemon I wanted to use in the first games, but couldn't, including the Pokemon I just mentioned. But even then, there were still Pokemon that I wanted to use but couldn't due to my team structure, and are Pokemon I still have never used to this day despite really wanting to, such as Excadrill, Ferrothorn, and Electros. But I'll talk more about Pokemon Black and White 2 later. There is, however, one thing that bothers me about Black and White 1, and still bothers me to this day, and it's nothing to do with the game, it's to do with me, which is that the Pokemon League in Black and White 1 is the only one I haven't properly defeated. This is because the champion, Alder, is the final boss of the after game, and not the main game because of N fucking everything up. And his Pokemon are almost level 80, I believe, while your Pokemon when you finish the main game are about in the mid-50s. Therefore, I have never found the time to grind my Pokemon up to the levels needed to beat Alder. Although I'll probably try to do that before the end of the year as a goal, because never beating Alder is still one thing that bothers me to this day. Despite the new generation of Pokemon being out, the Diamond and Pearl series had still not finished, at least in the UK, and I still watched it. However, this eventually led to pretty much the end of the anime for me. As I mentioned earlier, I watched practically every episode of the Diamond and Pearl series up to a certain point. And that wasn't a decision by me, it was because of a weird decision in the broadcasting of episodes. I still kept watching the anime. I saw the episodes with Volkner, in which he went emo and gave up battling. I saw Ash's gym battle with Volkner, where he obtained his 8th gym badge. And I saw the episode with Jasmine, where she battled Volkner. And the episode ended off with Ash, Dawn, and Brock sailing to the Sinnoh League. However, for whatever reason, they stopped airing new episodes after that. The next aired episode was a rerun of the first episode in the current season. As far as I'm aware, they never aired the Sinnoh League episodes in the UK, as I still watched reruns of episodes, and they never aired episodes of the Sinnoh League. So, for me, it just went from Ash going to the Sinnoh League to Black and White. Years later, I actually was able to find episodes of the Sinnoh League on the internet, so I now know what happens, and it pisses me off so much. As with every Pokemon League, aside from the Orange Islands, which I don't count because it's not an actual region in the games, Ash loses the tournament. However, the reason why Ash lost was absolute bullshit to me. Ash had trained really hard and actually got smart in the Diamond and Pearl series, and even included his older Pokemon for the tournament, and he even managed to defeat Paul in a really intense battle. However, Ash lost to a fucking cheater. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I'll explain. Ash lost the Sinnoh League to a trainer named Tobias. Now, the reason why Tobias is a cheater is because of his Pokemon. He has a Darkrai, a Latios, and 4 other Pokemon we never see. This is all kinds of bullshit. One is that in in-game tournaments and multiplayer modes in Pokemon games, legendary Pokemon are banned. Tobias has at least 2, and in the anime, the Pokemon League is a tournament. So this is absolute bullshit. Second, this is really unfair on the other trainers in the tournament, not just Ash. I'm pretty sure all these trainers trained really hard with blood, sweat, and tears, only for them to lose to a legendary, since legendaries are naturally stronger than regular Pokemon. Ash was the only trainer to ever defeat Tobias' Darkrai with a Sceptile after losing his first free Pokemon. Then Ash inevitably lost with a draw between Pikachu, who was his last Pokemon, and Latios. Third, this is such a stupid way to have Ash lose the Sinnoh League. If you're going to have Ash lose again, at least have him lose to a fair fight, not this bullshit. They should have just given Tobias regular Pokemon which were just trained really hard. That would have been way more fair and would have been way more sense for Ash to lose them rather than this bullshit of losing to an action replay team. And what's worse is that Tobias went on to win the tournament. Fucking cheater. But anyway, by this point, a combination of me growing out of the anime by this point and not seeing the Sinnoh League episodes when I was a kid pretty much led me to stop truly watching the anime, as what I would say. And with that also went the movies, as the last movie I saw when I watched the anime was Zoroark Master of Illusions, which I now think is kind of underrated, as I think they did a good job with the villain of the movie. When the Black and White series came out, and I mentioned this in my Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga Let's Play, I watched the first few episodes, including the moment where Ash's seemingly level 100 Pikachu lost to a level 5 Snivy that's never battled before, and a few later episodes, but this was only out of sheer curiosity to see Gen 5 Pokemon in the anime. And I know some people like the Black and White series, but I just couldn't get into it. To me, the Black and White series felt like something was missing. It seemed to lack what I liked about the anime when I started watching it, although I can't seem to put my finger on it. I felt like there was a bit of a drop in quality in the anime at this point. But there were a few things about the Black and White series which I didn't like, and which I can put my finger on as to why. One was that the anime was starting to get extremely cheesy at this point, in my opinion. The anime has always been cheesy, however Black and White felt more cheesy than it was before, as there was more of an emphasis on friendship. And that throughout the series, which you can see in all the incredibly corny theme songs they use for each season, where the singers ironically sound very depressed. Also, I don't know why they did this, but Ash seemed to get even stupider than he normally is. I mean, one of the later episodes I saw was Ash's gym battle with Elisa, where he was so dumb. If you see the episode, you know what I'm talking about, but words cannot describe how stupid Ash was in that episode. Second was that the new characters they introduced in the Black and White series were, for the most part, and from what I saw, I'm just basing this obviously from what I saw, because maybe they get better with this if I actually seen every episode, but to me, most of the new characters were incredibly underdeveloped. I mainly saw this with Ash's rival for this series, Trip. In the first episode, he seems like a normal trainer, you know, I thought he was just gonna be like a normal rival. But in later episodes I saw, he was suddenly a dick for, like, no reason, and there was, like, no character development from what I remember of, like, him becoming a dick. And they just copied Paul from Diamond and Pearl series and made him think that power was everything in that. And third, and this is something I will never forgive the Black and White series for, is what the hell they did to Team Rocket. When I was a kid, I really liked Team Rocket because of how stupid they were. But in the Black and White series, they, in my opinion, fucked them up. They barely appeared in episodes from what I saw, which was alright, as you don't need to have Team Rocket in every episode. But they completely got rid of their character. They made them competent and really smart, which removes the reason why people like Team Rocket in the first place. Their stupidity. To me, they seem like they were possessed by generic blonde villains. You know, you can make Team Rocket more competent while still keeping them dumb. I think they should have just used an entirely new group of villains for this instead. Plus, they also got rid of tons of Team Rocket's Pokemon in order to not raise suspicion because they were only new Nova Pokemon, just like in the game, even though it was perfectly fine for Ash to bring Pikachu with him. So, this meant they, along with Team Rocket's character, they also lost their Pokemon, which I thought helped portray Team Rocket's character even more. So, we had no Seviper, no Yanmega, no Carnivine, no Mime Jr., and no Wobbuffet! Come on! Wobbuffet practically completed Team Rocket. Instead, we got Jesse's generic Woobat and James's generic Yamask. And they didn't even do, like, the intro of, like, prepare for trouble and make it double, you know, yada yada yada. I tried really hard to get into the Black and White series, but I just couldn't. The last episode I saw of it was Ash's gym battle with Skylo, which is practically the same setup as Volkner. I didn't even get up to the part where they introduced N and Team Plasma. Then we move over to Black and White 2, and I don't really have much to say about it at this point. I like Black and White 2, but I did find it kind of disappointing as many things were just reused from the first games, just with older Pokemon, which I didn't even use since I wanted to use Pokemon I liked in the first games, but couldn't use. I will say I did like the World Tournament, as it let you battle all the previous gym leaders and champions. I just wish it actually came back in future games. It's like that one feature in every Pokemon game that's really good, but never comes back in any future games. Now, we move back over to the Pokemon movies, and you're probably thinking, what? But you said you stopped watching the anime! And that is true. However, several years ago, I don't remember how many years ago, it was just a few years ago, out of sheer curiosity, I looked up and watched every Pokemon movie I hadn't seen at that point. Although all the ones I saw, with the exception of 3, I thought were either meh or bad. Especially Jirachi and Kyurem. I think those are the two worst movies, with Jirachi being the worst, and Kyurem just barely being second worst, because they at least make Kyurem really threatening in it. But this was back when there were 16 Pokemon movies, so right now, I have not seen Diancie in the Cocoon of Destruction, and Hoopa in the Clash of Ages. In English. I actually did recently see Hoopa in Japanese. Although, I am also considering watching the upcoming 19th movie just because of Magearna, you know, to see a new Pokemon. So now we move over to just 3 years ago, when you obviously knew what happened then. Pokemon X and Y were revealed. I, like everyone else, got super hyped when this was announced, as we now had new Pokemon. And like the majority of people, I already decided that I would choose Froakie as my starter since I liked how it looked the most. And boy, was I glad I made that decision when I found out what its final evolution was. And then came the day when Pokemon X and Y came out, and for me, it was the night before, since the shops already had the game in stock and were selling it. And I picked Y since I like the look of Yveltal more than Xerneas. For some reason, I got completely addicted to the game, like, more so than I have with any other Pokemon game. I couldn't stop playing it, as I was having so much fun with my finalized team being Greninja, Talonflame, Heliolisk, Malamar, Tyrantrum, and the Lucario that Karina gives you to use Mega Evolution. Even though the new Fairy type that they introduced hurt my beloved Dragon type Pokemon, I still like the addition since it did help balance the game and gave more of a reason to use Poison and Steel types, as I also like those types of Pokemon as well. I just wish that the majority of Fairy type Pokemon didn't have girly designs. That's the one issue I have with Fairy types, that so many of them have designs that seem to appeal more to like younger girls, like My Little Pony or something. While Gen 6 introduced the smallest number of new Pokemon, I still defend the new Pokemon. Well, the majority at least. There are like a few that I don't like. Because obviously, with the time difference between Black and White 2 and having used 3D models for this game, I obviously knew there wouldn't be enough time to create too many new Pokemon, as I said sort of in my X and Y related response video to Forful's Minion. And more importantly, the majority of the Pokemon were either really created or unique, such as how Talonflame is a fire flying type instead of the typical normal flying type with all early bird Pokemon. So that's what I was getting at in that video. And also because a lot of the Pokemon that aren't that good, I still see used competitively, even though I know pretty much nothing about competitive play, like Diggersby. I thought that that would be completely useless in such an early game Pokemon, but I've seen quite a few people use it on online matches. Then, obviously, with a new generation came a new series of the anime, the X and Y series. Well, I can't say too much about the X and Y series, as like with Black and White, I only saw the first few episodes and a few later episodes out of morbid curiosity to see Gen 6 Pokemon in the anime. I do think it's better than Black and White, personally. I think I've seen more X and Y episodes than Black and White episodes, as the X and Y series, from what I've seen, has been more enjoyable to watch, as it has a lot of elements of the earliest seasons of the anime, and Ash is actually more frequently smart than he usually is. I actually have seen also all of the Mega Evolution specials, which I think are also really enjoyable, but the end of the last episode I thought was really weird because how is beating every Mega Evolution going to get Chespy better? Alon, you didn't think this plan through very well. And just in case you are wondering, yes, I am aware of a more shipping and all of the Ash and Serena moments. It's like all over YouTube. Now we come to the end of the retrospective, as all that there is left to talk about is Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. While I had already finished Pokemon Emerald at this point and playing along with Chogakarma's Let's Play of it, I still loved Oris and thought that they were way better than the originals. Suck it, IGN. I thought it improved pretty much every issue I have with the original Gen 3 games, along with me obviously being better at Pokemon at this point with my team of Sceptile, Shiny Metagross, Glade, Altaria, Almaldo, and Lantern. But one thing really does bother me, and just letting you know, this is a spoiler alert for the after game. Fuck catching Deoxys at the end of the Delta episode. I tried my hardest to catch it, but every ball failed, and I accidentally made it faint with Mega Rayquaza, and I couldn't be bothered to recatch Rayquaza and watch the cutscene again to get another chance. I am aware that you can have another chance if you beat Steven again, but his Pokemon are like 20 levels higher than they were before. So that's the end of the Pokemon retrospective. I don't really know how to end this since I've never done a retrospective before. But what I will say is I'm looking forward to hopefully a new main series installment, whether it be obviously a remake or a new generation. And the majority of Pokemon related things coming this year, such as Pokken Tournament, since I like Pokemon and I like Tekken, enough said. And the remaining mythical Pokemon distributions, Darkrai and Genesect, better be distributed by Wi-Fi, or I swear! Also, I guess I should mention Origins, which I have seen, but didn't really know where to put it in this, because I can't even remember what, year it was first showing off in, because it was based off Gen 1. I guess if the reaction to this video is positive enough, I could do retrospectives on the many other anniversaries this year for video game franchises. But again, this was just, so for now, this was just kind of a one-off thing because I didn't have enough time to do what I originally planned for Pokemon's 20th anniversary.